Lorna told me this a few times, maybe last year when I was with her. We were talking about Spirit and DreamWorks, and she mentioned, and we're talking about how films change people's lives, right?
Mm.
There was this one person who came up to her and said 20 years later that I was on the verge of suicide, and Spirit took me away from that thought.
Oh,
you
wow.
know, stuff like that. Like, I'm sure there's so many other stories. I mean, there's another story on Prince of Egypt, which you worked on since you worked. I don't know if I told you, so please tell me if I told you. Um, this woman came with her kids after the screening to Brenda Chapman, or no, to
Simon
not,
Wells.
no, no, not Simon Wells, Steve
Steve
Hickner.
Higner? Steve Higner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. After again 20 years, she came with her kids. She goes, I when Prince of Egypt came out, I was before we, a day before my husband abused me physically, and I took my kids to go see Prince of Egypt. And when I walked out of the theater, I made a decision that we're not going back, and that changed the entire trajectory of their life. And they never went back.
It's an incredible story. I know that 85% the people that loves spirit and comes to me or they write me, can you send me a sketch of spirit, are women. I don't know why. The women, they love horses naturally. But yeah, and I know many people um loves the first one, not the sequel that they did much later. They asked me why they did that. I said, I don't know. I don't work on sequels, not even on the ones that I work on the original story. So anyway, it's a very powerful story. And listen, there were even more powerful stories inside that they took out because they were too strong. For example, there was that rail. They were going on the train and people shooting buffaloes with the Winchesters, from the windows of the train just for fun. That historically happened, So they took out some things that they were really bad about the history of America, or the history of the conquest of the West. So it was really, really even more powerful. I don't think it was Lorna, it was more a studio. The studio
Mm,
realized that it was a kind of very dramatic movie with the same impact or superior that the Prince of Egypt. Because what happened on the Prince of Egypt, it happened on the Middle East. But what happened on the Spirit, it was America. You know what I'm saying? And many
mm.
Americans, they were not ready for that. So it was kind of massive killing with Native Americans, with the tribes, massive killings of buffalo and other species, the conquest just for the gold, you know, with the train going back to the west, and making it to all the train workers, Chinese workers that they were in the area of California up. it was a touchy film. So
Wow.
so they kept it. You know, one thing that I wanted to talk is the day that they approved that spirit, you know, and and with spirit on their hand, that was one of the sketches,
Oh,
a
nice.
sketch. But that is the color of him, correct? That is him, with
Yep,
the
yep.
hair. Anyway, I've been doing my research today on my archives. So Jeffrey Katzenberg asked for an assistant and said, I want this horse. I want just what we just approved. And it was a Kiger Mustang, beautiful, kind of dark orangey. We did it that way, basically because they exist, but because it's more distinctive on the herd, that orange, and against the grass of the beautiful backgrounds against the green, you can see the guy right away. Okay, so Katzenberg said, I want that horse, find it, to her assistant. And they found the horse in a ranch in Oregon. Obviously, his name was Donner, not Spirit. You know the story of Donner?
I think Lorna may have mentioned this to me, but go on, please, on
Yeah.
the podcast. Yeah.
So they got Donner, and obviously the owner didn't want to sell Donner. They arrived with this small airplane into the ranch in Oregon. I think Jeffrey went with Steven, just big ranks. They offered him so much money that they sold the horse, correct? So once they brought Donner to LA, to Glendale, they kind of built a little ranch inside the campus, okay, in Glendale,
Yes. Yes.
for animators and designers to draw him. And when he came, it was way beyond beautifully that the design. It was amazing, an amazing horse. Obviously, you will call him Spirit, and he didn't even turn. Obviously,
Yeah. Yeah.
name was
Yeah.
Donner. And was kept for a year or two, not in the Glendale campus, was coming every day, but they had a better facility near the Castrian Center in Burbank, very close nearby. But it was coming for all the animators and designers to really design the horse. And after that, we could do beautiful things like that,
Wow.
But this is after having Donner in the campus. Then is when we knew, because we had a horse in front of us, a horse that was exactly like Spirit. Then from that day and all that year having Donner in the campus designing and drawing, all the animators, all of us, all the designers, anyone from storyboard, we went much faster and we knew a lot about horses because we could see the guy, there, That is a beautiful story. Then when it happened that the movie was ending, it came a big dilemma at the studio, what to do with Donner, which at the
Yeah.
time it responded by a Spirit, was already 2 years and a half in the campus. So he knew he had two names, Donner, his native name, and Spirit. So the executives, they wanted him to go to the premieres in New York and go up on the Empire Stage, on the elevators and all that. The artists and directors, we wanted him a nice retirement in a ranch running wild, free, and we won the battle. So right now, Spirit, from that day that we donated Spirit to the ranch in Santa Barbara that is running free, if you check on the internet, Spirit, the Kiger Mustang is in a ranch and is still alive, in Santa Barbara, in California.
Really?
Yeah. When we finish the interview, you go and check, and you could see him, and he's still beautiful. Obviously a bit older, but still alive.